Okay, we're here. Hello. How is everyone doing? Hi. I'm a little nervous, but I'm good overall. Yeah, good evening, everyone. It's so good to see you, scholars. How are you doing? How has your day been this lovely Monday? Hi, Bazooka. Welcome. Leafy, hi. I am, like I said, a little nervous, but still intact. King says it's just a Monday and it was okay. That's perfectly fine. We like okay. I'm trying to see if I can get the chat to work, but I am struggling to see it working. Sad life. Hopefully it'll pop up on its own. If not, it's so over. Yeah, let me see if I can remedy this really quickly. Alright, let's see if this one works. Oh, well, this one works. We'll just shimmy it over here. Shimmy, shimmy, booyah. Oh. Okay. I don't like it. It's like a block of text. It's a little chunky. But we gotta live with it. Yeah? We're gonna live with it. It's better than nothing. So, we will make do with that. Yeah, whatever works. It is what it is. Let's see. I wonder why the green one, the one that I usually have, isn't working. I really don't know. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but I will remedy and fix that. I think it's because when I have a waiting room, there's something that doesn't like connect with it. I have to have it where it's not a waiting room and it should sync up. That's my guess. So I'm gonna test it after about a week. I'm gonna do like no waiting rooms and just post my schedule with the thumbnails on Twitter and see if that works, because I think that's probably what's messing it up. Yeah, it's worth a shot for sure. But that's just me thinking out loud. I actually have a dun. I have a presentation. Let me refresh that. Okay, that works now. Yeah, I have a presentation. Let me see if I can refresh this. Still not working. Bottom of the chat window's cut off. Alright, scuff time. It's not a stream without scuff. Yeah. We'll just leave it like that. Yeah, it's a little delayed, not gonna lie. It is not ideal, but it is what it is. Hi Nimby, welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for being here. Very happy to see you. I hope you're taking care. But yeah, like I was saying, I have a presentation for you guys. I actually spent a few days working on it, and it's like kind of my synthesis of information that I pulled from various sources regarding peer support. So a TED Talk, not quite. See, I feel like a TED Talk is more coming from a place of truth and wisdom and experience and a reality that someone has lived and knows about and can really speak to. This is just like a student who just threw together a presentation with no guidelines just to present to people. I am still learning about this topic of peer support, what it truly entails. I actually read something earlier today, and it kind of shifted my perspective on peer support. Like, there's some parameters, right? It keeps it so that, so there's like this whole like ethics thing, and and things you can and cannot do as a peer support, right? Because you're not a therapist, right? So I think people misunderstand this a little bit and think, oh, so you're going to be a therapist. And it's like, no, not at all, hardly. So I think trying to debunk some of that and see peer support as like another resource within mental health, and maybe it's something that could be available to you in your life where you're at. Maybe there's some peer support groups, right, where you can meet up with people and connect with them, touch grass, for your unique circumstance. That's kind of where I'm coming from. I'm just trying to introduce more options to people who are looking for healing, looking for connection, looking for ways to grow themselves. So if that is something that you're looking for, or you really want in your life, then I think we're aligned in that way, where me presenting topics that introduce you to the concept, and then, hopefully through experience, through positive experience, it can reinforce and validate your healing and your growth. Yeah? I do apologize in advance that my chat is so scuffed. I wish it wasn't. I wish the other chat would hurry up and work, but it's so not working right now. And so I am defaulting to the black box of doom, the black box of the chat. It's this nice little black box, and words come out, and it is what it is. So scuff. I wish I didn't have the waiting room to see if I could just sync the chat with the live stream, because I think the chat information is being kind of spread across the different waiting rooms, so it doesn't know which chat to focus on. I think that's just currently where it's at. I can't assign that, oh, it's this chat that you need to be focused on, when I have like other waiting rooms. So I think that's kind of what's causing the chat scuff. But regardless of that, we'll still move on. We'll still find a way. It's not the end of the world. Scuff will happen. So if you guys are ready to settle in with some learning, with some exploration, learning with me, I want to remind you guys right now, in this very moment, I am in no way an expert. Nada. Jokes aside, I'm not even being sarcastic. I am literally learning this with you, and I'm just presenting what I've found and what I've learned. And if it sparks curiosity and it sparks some sort of like interest within you, definitely do your own research. There's beautiful resources and articles about peer support. If we get to that point, I can read them to you. If not, I'll just do a little vibe check to see how everyone's feeling. Then we can go from there. But yeah, so I kind of wanted to start with this topic today because it's something very relevant to me, as many of you may know. And if you don't know, that's okay. If you haven't been keeping up with me, that's just how things are. That's just life, right? Yeah. Leafy. Well, okay, so I did my best to only provide facts and definitions in this presentation, but sometimes what I'll do is I'll say something that is personally my own opinion, and it's not like a fact necessarily, and I'm aware of that. Other times I just speak basically solely on the facts, like, okay, this is what it is, and that's it, right? I'm still learning more about this topic. and I'm trying to be very careful with my words so I don't offend the internet, but literally me just breathing can offend the internet. It can offend some misogynist out there who just hates women. So like my whole existence is up in the air. I can offend anyone just by existing. So I can't really like care too much about that, right? So whatever happens, right? I'm gonna say whatever I'm gonna say. I'm gonna do whatever I'm gonna do, and we'll go with that. And hey, if I'm mistaken, I'll learn eventually. I'll be like, oh shoot, I should not have said that, or oh that was incorrect. I should have like said this instead, or not said anything like that. It's just part of growing. And I think as long as people are like flexible mentally about that and not rigid and taking things out of context. I mean, there's this whole like subcategory of taking VTubers and YouTubers out of context, and it's like entertaining and fun, but it's more like point and laugh. It's like, look what this person said, ha ha ha. I don't know. There's no consequences for it, right? There's no consequences for that, unless you talk about like you're getting into like cancel culture and that kind of stuff. But I don't think I'll be canceled for talking about this, and if I am, wow, y'all need some help. Yeah. Anyways, so we're gonna continue moving forward, and with the presentation. Let me pull it up really quick. Let's see. We got this right in front of my face, and then I'm going to shimmy myself over. Let me shimmy, scoot. I'm gonna hang out with chat over here, and we're gonna be nice and cozy. Hi Lay, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the stream. I think you guys can see it, right? I think you guys can see everything. I'm covering chat, but it's just a black box of words anyways, so I can still see the chat, so that's perfectly fine. Or I could be really, really mean and just cover you guys all together, be like, hi! I'm like right smack dab in the middle, but the black chat box is very distracting, but you know what? It is what it is. I could make it more aesthetic. Ha ha, you guys have no voice. Okay, that's just cruel and unusual, but alright, there you go. Does that look better? Does this look better, or should I bring the chat box behind me? What do you guys think? As I set up the rest of the presentation for you. This should be okay. Alright, so we are going to talk about peer support, what it is, what it means to me right now, and where it could go in the future. And I welcome all opinions and ideas and suggestions, because it's an open and safe space to have that sort of discourse. Now, just be mindful that not everything will be replied to, just because for the sake of keeping the peace, and sometimes it's fine to withhold controversial topics on this subject. But if you feel like there's a major flaw, like a major flaw, and you have to speak your mind, go ahead, speak your truth, right? And I'll do my best to address or just accept and validate where that opinion is coming from, right? We can explore different ideas together in a safe way, in a safe space, one that's not rooted in being right or argumentative or having to prove a point. So I think it's more about wanting to be understood and just seeing different perspectives. I think that's the most mature thing that we can do. So if there are differences in ideas of what peer support is, could be, should be, whatever, right? That's fine. Just know that it's more about understanding than being right. Can we agree on that? Can we agree that it's more about trying to understand each other first, more so than just being right or anything of that matter? Okay, so hopefully there won't be anything too dramatic like that, but yeah, okay. Jakandi, welcome. Hoi, hoya, hello, hello. Thank you for being here. I think you guys can see my presentation really quick, and I just want to like preface that I'm doing this presentation not because anyone is telling me to, because out of like my own willingness to want to share a potential solution for others. So I'm not doing this to, I don't get paid necessarily, right? I'm not getting sponsored. I'm doing this out of the genuine love and concern and care of the topic regarding mental health and giving people options and resources. So I'm coming from that place. So if I make any mistakes, let me know so I can like improve and better myself, of course. But like, I don't think it'd be fair to like 1,000% attack me for like wanting to present this topic or discrediting this topic because of like you don't like it, right? Like that's just keep that to yourself, I guess, or don't watch or don't listen and not, get yourself all riled up for no apparent reason, right? So yeah, I see peer support as a resource, as an option, as an additional potential solution to your unique experience. Okay, so where are we going to begin? We're going to begin with the history of peer support. Yes, I did research. I was actually genuinely very curious, when did this all start? And I don't really know where it's at presently. I'm going to be very honest with you. I don't know where we're at presently with peer support. I feel like it's moved in so many different directions, but there is like a standard, like a code of ethics that everyone follows, right? So that's really important. But what I did find out from kind of where it's been is that if we were to trace back and try to pinpoint the origins of peer support, it would be in a psychiatric hospital in the late 18th century in France. So there was a professor of psychiatry at the Yale School of Medicine who did a bunch of research, like going through a lot of documents, and he kind of pinpointed this beginnings of peer support. And there's like an article that kind of talks about like what happened and everything like that. So yeah, so Larry Davison tracked that, and supposedly peer support, if not earlier in the history of time, maybe we just didn't have the definition of peer support, but maybe it's been happening even before, like prior to the 18th century. We just didn't have a word for it, or like a definition and like a structure and framework for it. But if we were to really kind of put a pin on it, 18th century in France. So this is within a few centuries, so it's still a relatively new emerging concept. It's still a baby. It's still a baby, right? So peer support has a lot more it could develop and become as a resource within mental health and healing and recovery of all kinds of situations in life. Yeah. So these are just dates for people who love numbers and dates and histories and timelines, right? So I think, if I remember correctly, 1965 was when it resurfaced and really kind of brought more attention to this concept of peer support, right? So it resurfaced again in 1965 with the efforts of Robert Karkoff and Charles Truax. And these counselors and these lay counselors were trained with specific skills that were helpful in helping these mentally ill patients in hospital settings. So I guess around that time they kind of came up with this word, and it grew into what we know it is as it is today. So continuing, 1980s, there was like this big psychiatric survivor movement that happened. I'm not too familiar with this myself. I didn't get a chance to look into the psychiatric survivor movement, but I think it's really important, and I think it's part of the history of peer support. So I will probably spend a little bit more time looking into this out of curiosity, and I invite others to as well. In the 1990s, the children's mental health was recognized at a federal level, okay? And then moving forward in the early 2000s, the youth advocacy kind of joined this peer support movement, right? And then, obviously as time moves forward, we have peer support in its various forms today, whether it's in hospitals, online, out in parks, focus groups, whatever you want to call them, right? Recovery groups. And yeah, that's just kind of what I know so far in terms of where it's at today. There probably are more resources and like events and movements and panels and forums that are out there. I just didn't get to look into that. I was really more focused on trying to map out these major time frames for the history of peer support. So hopefully this gives you kind of an idea of like where peer support has come from, its origins in 18th century France and hospitals, and kind of opening it up to more than people. Like, for me, again, here's my opinion. I feel like peer support could also be an intervention for preventing people from actually getting worse in their condition. So like if you have anxiety, or if you have like a substance abuse problem, or what have you, maybe like attending peer support programs that are, aligned with proper ethics and such would help you prevent from escalating your symptoms, right? Like getting help sooner rather than waiting until it's really, really bad. So no, that's just my opinion. I really personally like this idea of prevention. But I mean, of course, we can't prevent everything, and life just happens, right? Yeah. So one of the kind of like umbrella categories within peer support is like an AA meeting. So you'll see as we actually go into the definitions. So I'll move forward after, if you guys are done with kind of reviewing the history. I know I didn't have a whole lot to say about it, but there's this really helpful website, and you know what I'm gonna do after the stream? I need to add my citations to my video, so I'll do that after, and I'll literally just post links, and you can like fact check, double check my resources, and see like, okay, where is Poette pulling their information from, right? So I value that credibility, and it's not just like some random anonymous forum telling me information and giving me advice. It's like, so if you guys want to fact check that and like review that the sources that I pulled this information from is like valid and transparent and open, as opposed to like, I don't know, like not very credible or anything like that, that's perfectly fine. I'll do that after the stream. So I got some work. Yeah, a VTuber told me. But okay, so here's the thing. Here's the thing. Where did that VTuber get their information from? Where did they get their information from? I know, it's kind of strange, huh? It's like you're receiving it from like a person on the internet that you don't know. But you know, I did the research. I'm presenting it to you guys now so that you guys can hopefully think about it. Do your own research. I encourage critical thinking. I do encourage looking into details if that's something that really like bothers you. Like, man, I don't know how valid Poette is about this whole concept, right? But as I said before, it's just a supplement as opposed to like the main dish or the core, because I don't think peer support can like help with everything. Of course you're gonna always need like a professional and a doctor and a psychiatrist and whatever, and a care team. What I'm introducing is peer support being part of your care team, part of your recovery process in whatever situation you are going through, whether it's anxiety or substance abuse or domestic violence that, you know, you're living through that and you want to like find healing and community and connection to overcome the isolation and feelings of loneliness or feelings of like just negative feelings in general, right? It could be so many things that a person feels going through these unique circumstances. Okay, so I'm just gonna preface again. There's 3 slides that are from 3 different articles trying to define what peer support is. And for those of you who don't like when people read the contents on the slideshow, I'm going to be that person. I'm going to read the information that I specifically extracted from a very long article, and I'm going to just highlight it and summarize it and answer the question. So I pulled, and I'll try to kind of I'll probably speed through these next 3 just a little bit. But I pulled from 3 resources, and then I ultimately utilized the 3 articles to try to put peer support into my own words, like to try to define peer support in my own words. And I pulled from these resources, so it's not like, oh, I came up with this definition and this is all me. No, like I said, there's these 3 articles, and I saw this common thread. I saw this common phrasing that was used, and I used that in my definition as well. And I think it's very helpful to emphasize that. And you'll see as I get to the next slideshows or next slides. Okay, so I am going to read off of my slides. So if you don't like that, I'm sorry. I did extract a lot of information, and I did take a lot of time. But yeah, so peersupport.training, an article about what is peer support, defines and states that peer support is a way of relating to someone through shared humanity and core commonalities with the goal to offer and or receive support. Yeah. There were 2 parts that I pulled from this article, and again, I will post my citations at the end of this stream, so that you guys can like read it if you guys are really curious and to try to see where I'm getting my information from, right? I think that's really important. But peer support in the mental health field is offered by an individual who has a lived experience of trauma, a psychiatric diagnosis, and or emotional distress after doing some work with their experience and learning the core principles of peer support. So there's 3 parts to this definition. 1, you have a lived experience. 2, you've done some work with that lived experience. You're not just like, oh, I'm an expert because I've had this happen to me. I have anxiety, therefore that makes me an expert. Not necessarily. And then 3, you actually go through official professional training, right? Core principles of peer support that kind of enables you to practice peer support, right? I think what some people might think is like, oh, peer support is easy, anyone can do it, right? Like as long as you have like a diagnosis, you can be a peer support for others. And that might not necessarily be the case. It also depends on how far you've progressed in your journey and in your processing of your trauma, right? So that's really important to understand, because I worry people are like, oh, well, you know, I have this, and therefore that's therefore that makes me qualified. And it's like, well, how much work have you done to understand your condition, and have you taken the steps to learn and become certified in peer support and learn about all the things that go into helping others? Because I think it's very easy to say like, oh, I have anxiety, and that automatically makes somebody credible for, or like an expert in other people's situations as well. Yeah. Anyways, in peer support, the views and experiences of all the people involved are equally valued. There is no promoting a certain method or way of thinking. How much support a member of a peer group receives, or gives and receives, depends on what feels right for them at the moment. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a better way of putting it, is that it's not to invalidate a person's experience. So going back, just because I moved ahead, but going back, yeah, I think that's probably a better way of saying it. So if you have something like anxiety, that's fine. Like, you know, your experience is valid. That is your truth, but it doesn't make you an expert. And so, similar to me, just because I've had a lived experience does not necessarily make me an expert over someone else's lived experience, right? Yeah, I think we can agree on that for sure. All right, so moving forward, yeah, peer support views the experience of both the peer support and the person receiving the support as valuable and equal. So there is no like, oh, I've had it worse than you, and therefore I know better. There's none of that, right? There's definitely none of that. That attitude is not something we want to foster, from my understanding. Right? It's like, oh, I've been through this, and therefore I know more. It's not necessarily about trying to elevate one's experience over another due to like whatever circumstances or situations. It's that we see both experiences as equal. So someone who's come out of an AA program is just as relevant and equal to a person who has not gone through AA and is possibly considering going to AA. They're just at different points in their process, but we hold integrity and value to both situations equally. Yeah, that's how I understand that to be. So there's never this perspective of like, oh, you know, I've been through more, or I've had this condition for my entire life, right? You would never understand. Only I know what it's like for me, and maybe that's the truth for you, right? And maybe that's the truth for you. So that is also something to consider. So we're very sensitive, I guess you could say, or we're very open to seeing and feeling and understanding a person's experience from an equal standpoint. We're seeing each other as equals. So even if someone is like further along in their journey of recovery in AA, they will still see their peers as an equal, right? So that's really nice, right? There's this nice mutuality. There's this nice like power dynamic, I guess, right? So whereas like in a hospital setting, the doctors and the staff kind of, it feels like they have like a more higher stance in some senses, right? Because they're like the quote unquote authority. But whereas in peer support, everyone is like on the same level, and it's more about finding healing, finding ways to recover rather than comparing, right? Yeah, I think that's really key in fostering that empathy and understanding. Let me catch up with chat really quick. You guys are saying, yes, hi Plum Starfell. It's so good to see you. Good evening to you. I'm just saying that as an example. I don't know what your example was. A pencil is a tool, not a hammer. A pencil is like a tool belt, but it's not a hammer. Okay. All right. let's go with that. We'll roll with that. Sure. Yeah. It's how you use the tool. I get it, Leafy. Yeah, I think to use tools the way they're designed in the most efficient way possible. I don't have top chat. I don't, but I see like their message was retracted, so I don't know what happened to that message. And then I went to the message before, so their last message was retracted, so I don't actually see it anymore. If it was important, Leafy can type it out again. Chances of YouTube review of comments, not sure. There's a different message right before. They said that they were saying was an example. Yeah, I should have had the other one. I don't know, give me a second. Let's see. No, the message got retracted. Herp derp. The message got retracted. Yeah, I don't know why. I didn't retract it, but I saw it and I continued talking, but I did see it briefly and then it got deleted, so I don't know what happened there. I don't think there's a text limit, as far as I know. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, if you want to try to explore that, we could possibly talk about your example. But if you're okay with moving forward, we can also do that. If you hit the text limit, you just can't send the message at all. Right, yeah. So I don't know why it got retracted. I'm too busy yapping to moderate the messages, so I don't know why it got retracted. I don't know if Leafy deleted it, or if a mod deleted it, or if YouTube found a word and the bot deleted it. I'm not sure. Maybe one of those options are a possibility. Okay. So this is just the first out of 3. Oh, you can still see it. Oh, that's so strange. I can't see it. It got retracted from me. Oh, let me see. Oh, okay. Live chat. I see it now. I'm so sorry. I see it now, but I don't know why it got retracted on. You're right. So I was on top chat instead of all chat. You were right. Yeah. So Leafy says, I have so many family members that tell me if I can do it, you can do it, and if you can't, oh geez. That's very that's quite toxic. Let me just say that's actually quite toxic. It's not very encouraging. I'm sorry to hear that that you have an environment that invalidates you when you're unable to perform, and that affects your sense of value and sense of self. I'm sorry, Leafy. I'm really sorry to hear that. I'm able to see your message now. I switched from top chat to all messages are visible, so I can see that now. Yeah, I don't know why it deleted it on the top chat. Maybe it had like a word and it censored it for me, so I didn't have to worry about it, but that's okay. Yeah, try to hold space for that, Leafy, and see if you can find ways to unlearn some of that mentality. Like, unlearning is also part of healing. It's not, I think, you could say that learning this and learning that is great, but there's also a lot of things we need to unlearn. So, all right. If you feel comfortable, you can continue expressing how you process that, or we can move on to the next slide because I have 2 more that are kind of similar. But yeah, let's continue learning about peer support. Does that sound good? Are we good with that? Let's see. Okay. All right. So, all right. I took a screenshot of this section from National Association of Peer Supporters. I hope you don't mind that I move forward. Let me know if you want to continue to discuss certain topics in length. Just let me know. I'll do my best to accommodate. But yeah. I also don't want to be dismissive of that experience because I think it's important. Leafy says it's okay, you've been through therapy and you're all good now, so don't worry. Okay. All right, just wanted to make sure everything was okay and there wasn't any sort of like any sort of trauma that is still bothering you that is unaddressed. But okay, so peer support. According to the National Association of Peer Support, a peer supporter is an individual with a life-altering lived experience of psychiatric, substance abuse, or other challenges who has made a personal commitment to his or her own recovery and has a desire to use what was learned from one's own lived experience to assist others with similar challenges. So this definition is a little bit more detailed than the other one. There's still, again, this common phrase of lived experience that's being used, right? A lived experience. So a lived experience alone does not make someone a peer supporter, as we had actually briefly mentioned. Peer support specialists' relevant training determined on a state-by-state basis on using personal experiences to inspire hope and support someone in taking personal responsibility. Peer supporters promote increased self-awareness, self-determination, self-advocacy, and a sense of empowerment in those receiving recovery support services. Yeah, so I think that's really important. And then the rest is just some information, which I could have added to the timeline, right? So if you guys want to read about that, you're more than welcome to. So yeah, it looks like there was the National Association of Peer Specialists, N.A.P.S, is an organization to kind of look into. Again, I didn't have a lot of time this weekend. I was preoccupied, but I think looking into these associations is going to be helpful to kind of know the industry a little bit more. So that's still something that I'm working on. And being more familiar with, leaders and organizations and people within the field and industry that I'm interested in, obviously. Yeah. Okay. So the third slide regarding what is peer support, and this is according to the Mental Health Empowerment Project. Peer support is a system founded on key principles of respect, shared responsibility, and mutual agreement of what is helpful. Peer support is about understanding another's situation empathetically through the shared experience of emotional and psychological pain. When people find affiliation with others whom they feel are like them, they feel a connection. This connection or affiliation is a deep holistic understanding based on a mutual experience where people are able to be with each other without the constraints of traditional expert/patient relationships. So that goes into the relationship dynamic, the power dynamics of like being in front of a doctor versus being in front of like a psychiatrist who has their training and their expertise kind of in comparison to yours. But with peer support, we kind of break down that wall that wall of, I mean, of course there's still professionalism within peer support. I think to say that there isn't would go against this code of ethics. So I think that's really important to differentiate. There is still like a relationship and a professional relation with your peers, and there's an obligation to continue growing and healing, right? To better ourselves. That's kind of the hope and the outcome that everybody wants within a peer support network. A supportive network of individuals who experience the same and might be in different parts of their journey and further along or not, just helping each other. So that goes a long way. Peer support training can help develop our ability to think critically about who we've become. Training helps us learn to sit with discomfort while we explore the relational dynamics that have kept us stuck, and also helps us look at our own reactivity. Yeah, so through training, actual training, you can kind of reevaluate and assess kind of where you've been and see or pick out points that were very helpful for you and be able to, I guess the word is understand another person through that reflection that you've gone through. Okay, so in summary, here's my definition of peer support. Finally, all right, this is kind of what I've kind of distilled, or what I've kind of gotten to. This is kind of what I understand peer support to be. So if someone were to ask me, what is peer support? This is going to be something of my definition. I believe, I understand peer support to be a person's lived experience with certified training and an effort to help others overcome their unique challenges and situations through meaningful connection, self-care skills, developing self-awareness, empathy, and mindfulness. So in my definition, all of these components go into peer support and what I believe it is. So it's still kind of rough, but you guys get the idea, right? You guys get the idea of what peer support is and how meaningful it can be in a person's recovery. You know, having a peer, a person who's gone through what you've gone through or something similar, or within your age group, or maybe a little bit older, like a mentor almost, or like those older brother, older sister programs to kind of help you through navigating your own thoughts and kind of helping you through activities like journaling or talking, right? Like just through talking it out and working it through. So I actually looked into a few articles of what a peer support worker does, and it's kind of interesting what I'm seeing from these articles and then kind of the training that I'm going to be receiving, because I looked ahead in my training and I think I have to be more mindful of integrating this code of ethics. Oh, are you journaling, Atlee? I'm so proud of you. That's wonderful. If you are, that is. If you are, that's great. I'm glad you can take this time to journal for yourself. That's really important, and it's really helpful. I hope it's helpful anyways. Okay. So, what does a peer support worker do? So we'll go through each column starting from the left to the right. So peer support workers, they inspire hope, right? So like there's this mentality like, look, I'm kind of role modeling what I've been through, so it's possible. It's possible for you to do that, the recovery and the work as well, you know. So there's a bit of like role modeling. I think a peer supporter helps dispel myths about what it means to have a mental health condition or substance use disorder, right? Really trying to break down this barrier of entry to receiving help. I think that's part of the work that peer support workers do. I think they can help provide educational material and resources and kind of guide or link people to tools and resources that have helped for them, such as like, oh, you know, when I'm stressed out, I journal or I meditate, or hosting workshops that provide these activities for the general public, right? I do believe that a peer support can help a person identify their goals, hopes, dreams, and help create kind of like a roadmap for achieving these goals, right? So sometimes we need that in our life. We need kind of that guidance or that support where we're not doing this alone. And it could be as simple as just being present with that person. Like, it's not necessarily like they're telling you to do anything. It's just saying, you know, hey, I'm here. If you want to bounce ideas off of me, let's go ahead and, like, you know, organize our thoughts and put it down on a piece of paper. But in no way do they, like, you know, force you to do anything or anything weird like that, right? So there was an article on what peer support is not, and I should have brought that in. I think it's really important because there's a lot of information about what peer support is, and I think it's just as important to look at what peer support is not. But yeah, so a peer supporter, you know, listens and offers a conversation. They share their story. I think that transparency can really help inspire people who have also been through something similar, right? Helps build resilience. And I think peer supporters are also people who advocate for recovery and advocate for progress in your healing or your recovery. Obviously, peer supporters will share their resources, like that help them get unstuck, to help other people get unstuck, right? Maybe they can teach self-care skills that they've picked up through their journey. I think it's important to build communities and support networks, right? And I think peer support is part of the supportive networking, where it's like, oh, this is a person I can call on when I'm not feeling well, or I can always turn to this person for some form of support or guidance in some way, right? Or otherwise, you could always use like a hotline, for example. There's a lot of resources and options out there, and I think when people are kind of stuck in their own situation, they feel like they're helpless or they don't have any options, but that's not true. If you just take a step back and revisit some of the resources that are available, you're reminded that, oh, there is help. You know, there are people out there that are willing to help. There's hotlines, there's the peer support networks and the people that you build good relations with, right? There's your doctor, there's your therapist, there's your psychiatrist. You have this whole care team surrounding you, right? Depending on how severe your case is. Yeah. There's a lot of skill sets that go into being a peer support worker, just like anything else. I think one of the interesting skills that I found was like a skill set that helps people, like a soft skill, like a social skill that helps people foster genuine interpretation or interpersonal relations. Sorry, I don't know why I said interpersonal. Yeah. Foster genuine interpersonal relations. Like how do you teach someone to do that, right? What are some of the actions that go into that, right? Like good listening, clear communication, actually thinking before just doing something, right? Just actually thinking about, all right, so this is what's happening, and obviously being empathetic. Another skill set is to be able to inspire hope and confidence in others is also like really important. So if you're the type of person who does like put downs and like does a lot of self-deprecating humor, maybe in some cases it might work for some people. You can connect with people that way, but in like majority of situations, I don't think putting someone down is going to make anybody feel better. Question mark. So how should people include peer support in their mental health recovery? So you can, if you're in a situation where you can speak with a therapist or a case manager or a psychiatrist, you can ask them directly, like, hey, I've heard of this resource called peer support, and I wanted to know if there was any peer support resources available. So for example, you would set up an appointment with your doctor or therapist, and on your next session be like, I've recently done some research, or I've heard about this term called peer support. Or you could research, look up some peer support groups within your area, and you could attend those activities and workshops and introduce yourself, and that's a start, right? Those are two options. I would probably check in with your therapist and or counselor or doctor, like psychiatrist or something, and see like, hey, but if your situation is not like too severe, you could just look up resources on peer support workshops in your area to kind of meet other people who have recovered from or are working towards recovery from their traumas. And there's this like unspoken rule, but I don't think, I'm like pretty sure there's no trauma dumping. I'm pretty sure if you're trained to facilitate a peer support group, it's very likely that you may or may not share your story. That is to be determined. And please remember that every peer support individual is a human, is a person, and it's also about compatibility. Do you vibe well with this person, right? But yeah, Leafy, that's an excellent question. And for starters, I'd probably check in with your therapist. Also, double check that, like your insurance covers mental health resources such as peer support. That would be really helpful. I think that's a good start. Yeah. So I don't mean to like advocate for peer support and then someone comes back and says, oh, Poette, I had like this terrible experience with a peer support leader. They were so domineering. And I'm like, okay, that's probably an incompatibility with their personality and your personality. That's not to say they're not qualified to do what they're, said what they can do, but that's just probably a compatibility thing, right? But I would like to hope that most people who have gone through a very difficult and challenging experience in their life are very empathetic, or at least caring and not rigid or domineering in any way, right? That is like my hope. That is like my prayer. But, if something happens where someone goes to a peer support like activity or event or forum and found out that there was a person who was like not very professional, then maybe they're just a peer and not really a professional peer support worker, right? Maybe that's where they're at, and we can have compassion for those individuals, right? Let's try to hold compassion for ourselves and hold compassion for other people. So okay. Yeah, there's a lot of skills that go into being a peer support worker, peer support leader, right? Being a leader is not easy. So, yeah. Okay, so this next few parts you guys may or may not like. It might be a mixed bag. It might be something I can't promise, but it is something that I'm hoping to provide. But if I can't, in any regard, I will let you know in some way, in some fashion. But this next part was kind of me doing some reflecting, right? Peer support with Poette, what would that look like, right? I could offer empathetic listening, right? I value clear communication. I would like to foster connection, like the authentic and genuine interpersonal relations with people, which I think I do. And I also very much value self-awareness, very, very much. So in reflecting, like, is peer support something that is right for me and is something for me to share and potentially offer to people, this is what I came up with. Just a few, right? Thank you, Antley. Thank you for validating my experience. I really do appreciate that. That's very empowering. Thank you. So I do care. I probably care to a fault. I do listen. I am listening. But just because I listen does not necessarily mean I am, what's the word? When I listen, I'm also trying to find a solution to kind of what I'm hearing. So like if you're saying, "Oh, I'm feeling anxious," and I hear that, my reply would be like, "Oh, what have you tried so far?" Right? So by asking that, I'm trying to push you to think of solutions as opposed to like invalidating your experience by asking you a question, for example, right? So yeah, I feel like what I do is I do challenge people very much, and it can be very uncomfortable, but just know I'm on your side. I want you to get better. If you're feeling anxiety, I want you to feel peace, and I want you to get to a place of peace. That is also my goal. If that is your goal as well, right? If your goal is to stay stuck and stay in anxiety, then it'll be very difficult for me to try to understand your logic, right? I would assume that you're looking for resources like peer support so that you can get better, not worse, or stay the same. What I imagine is that you're looking for these resources to get better, to find a solution, right? So through empathetic listening, yeah, exactly. So through empathetic listening, you might find that I kind of direct your attention to something you haven't considered, right? Like meditating or journaling, these little things that people just forego and think, oh, it's not for me. But it's like, have you tried it? Because I know I was the same way as well. I don't think I would have ever meditated in my life until I actually gave it a try. And then I had a very profound experience with it. Leafy says a lot of people just want people to feel bad for them and save them from their problems. Yeah, and that's not gonna cut it. And I'm gonna be real with you. I don't think that's gonna be the solution, right? Yeah. So it's okay. It's okay. I'm not gonna be upset if you say like, oh, but I don't want to poet. I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's where you're currently at. I can accept that. I can respect that, right? Yeah, we're just trying with what we're just trying to shake you out of this like routine of like negativity, offering solutions like, hey, do you want to journal together? Like, I'll sit here and journal with you. We'll do Pomodoro. You guys know Pomodoro? 15. Oh, that is the mailman. You guys, that is the mailman. I think you guys probably heard that. um I'm gonna ignore it until they ring it again. Actually, I should probably answer that door. Give me one. You guys heard the doorbell ring, right? That's pretty loud. Hold on. I'll be right back. I think I need to answer this door. All right. Okay, I'm back. Okay, I'm good. Thank you. We're back. I'm sorry about that. That very rarely happens, but yeah, someone forgot their keys. That's all I'm gonna say, right? Easy. We're all human. It happens. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for your patience, and sorry about that. I didn't want to leave anybody out there. Okay, sure, Alvin John. If you don't mind, I am just lurking around in the shadows. Okay, that's perfectly fine. Thank you, Alvin John. Was there anything that I could help you with, or you just wanted to just say hello? Also, thank you, VU. Thank you so much. I'm so embarrassed. That's like never happened before, but yeah, just life happens, so we just gotta roll with it, right? Okay. Well, yeah, happy lurking for those of you guys lurking. Feel comfortable to just do your thing, listen from the shadows, and do whatever makes you feel comfortable and cozy. Because, yeah. What is there to be embarrassed about? Because I'm just like, I'll hold that thought, and then I just had to, I don't know, it just, I was not expecting that, so all right. Thank you for being so understanding. I was actually going to ignore it because someone else is taking care of it. So if I hadn't answered it, it would have been fine. But the fact that I went there, it was also kind of funny too. No, there's some other reasons, but anyways, we'll continue. Don't worry about it. You know how the side of my hair right here is kind of messy? I really need a comb. Like, I'm not wearing my hat. Yeah, it would have been fine if I ignored it. But I answered the call, so okay. That was kind of funny. That caught me off guard. I'm not wearing my hat, so I feel embarrassed because I'm hatless, so I feel indecent without my hat and my glasses and my coat. But I'm not wearing my hat right now, so I had to go greet her without my hat. Bed head. But anyways, so where were we? Okay, naked, not naked. Did I say naked? No hat, -2 IQ. Absolutely. I'm just 2 IQ less than I usually am. How embarrassing. Naked without a hat. This is your dinner and a show moment? Oh man. Okay, so anyways, we were talking about peer support to get us back on track. And so we were talking about empathetic listening, and clear communication is really important. Being honest with ourselves is part of clear communication and self-awareness, right? When you combine the two, you get this profound understanding of yourself, and you're able to articulate your experience very well. And then once that happens, you can journal about it, you can talk about it. You know, if talking is difficult, you can write about it. If writing is difficult, you can talk about it. So you kind of have some ways to navigate your situation. Also, Ryu Fuzen, hello, hi, welcome, Ryu. It's nice to see you. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for being here. Very happy to meet you and greet you, meet and greet. And yeah, all right, so I'm kind of nervous about the next slide because it's all something that I haven't really thoroughly ironed out, but it is something that I want to hopefully get around to. You were lurking, you heard naked. Oh, okay. I was just talking about like not having my hat on makes me feel naked, but here I am, naked, without my hat. Great to see you again. Yeah, Ryu, it's good to see you again as well. Thanks for being here, like I said. Very glad to have you. Lurk to your heart's content. Or engage to your heart's content. Whatever makes you feel comfortable and cozy. That is what I'm here for. So, moving forward, starting your healing journey. I've recently set up a Ko-fi, and I've checked that my stream elements are working. So if you guys want to support me and start your healing journey, I'm planning on doing something along that lines later in the year, once I see how the next month or two goes. So that is just something that I am working towards and building. In addition to building resources on my main channel, I'm hoping to just get my feet wet with being able to help others and providing a service, peer support, right? For others to be able to work on themselves. Yeah, you know, I have toggles. I can wear my hat, or I can take it off. So today I just felt like, oh, you know, I'll be without a hat today. It's in the washer. It's in the laundry. It's at the washing machine thing, Yima bobber. So that's if you don't feel like you need any support or peer support in that case at the moment, but you really resonate with what I offer or what I'm going for, or you understand my mission statement and you have the means to, my stream elements will be available. And I do recommend stream elements over Ko-fi, just because stream elements does a better job at, there's less fees, right? There's less fees. Ko-fi kind of takes a chunk, takes about $1. So so I have to be mindful of that as well. But I'm happy to support Ko-fi. I think Ko-fi and PayPal offer a service that many people utilize, right? And they need to stay afloat as well. But stream elements is where we get the bang for the buck, I suppose. So that's going to be available for you guys. So if there's any resources that I've created that have helped you in any way, and you're at a financially stable place in your life to contribute, that is available. And this will be probably one of the few times that I promote myself in such a way, because I'm just not very good at promoting myself this way. So yeah, there we go. These are some of the links. Moving right along, these are some of the links that I will include in the whatchamacallit, in my citations underneath this video. Sorry, wow, brain just kind of went blank there. That happens a lot. But really, that's, yeah, bibliography. That's really it for today. And I'm just going to be around to answer questions and go over any anecdotes that you guys want to share. What you guys thought about this presentation? What are some things you're looking forward to? And all of that. Oh, okay. Oh, Ryu Harper. Okay, I remember Ryu Harper, yeah. Thank you, I appreciate it. Thanks, Aunt Lee. Good presentation? Okay, I'm glad that that went well for you guys and that it was informative. So I don't have to worry about looking dumb either. But yeah, so if you guys remember back in December, we had like 2 writing contests, and Panda's story, what the story that Panda wrote, won our hearts. And so what I did was I commissioned a piece of artwork where each of us were holding a panda plushie, and I suggested that idea, and Panda really liked that idea. And so this is actually incomplete. The artist is going to add more details and I guess render it more, but this is what they've given me so far. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. What do we have here? Keep up the good work. Oh, it's just covering my face. That's great, thank you. Let me see if I can read the message. Let's see. Let me see if I can read your message. It just pops up so quickly. Let me see. Give me a second. But yeah, thank you for the dono. Leafy Soul Green says, "Keep up the good work. I really like your streams. You give very classy vibes and I love it." Thank you. That's so kind of you. I greatly appreciate your support, and I'm glad that I can be someone that is classy. Nell has the bigger panda. I suppose so. Classy. I try to be classy as I can be. As classy as a pigeon potato bird can be, right? Classy. That's nice. That's very kind of you. Yeah. Thank you, Leafy Soul Green. That's very kind. I appreciate that. The classiest. Oh, absolutely. Very much so. I do my best. A refined lady. I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or not. With all the derps that happened to me, I am not sure I could be called refined, but I try. I've been through my ups and downs, and I try to hold my ground. A refined potato, more like it. Pinkies up. Yeah. Well, what are your thoughts so far on peer support? What do you guys think? Do you think it's something that can help people, and to what extent, right? As like a supplement, not as like a main course? Do you think there's a lot more research that should be done? Do you think there should be more resources like this where you are? Have you ever heard of peer support in your entire life? Maybe you're involved in like peer support already. But let's see. I'm trying to think. When was the first time I learned about this term? I think I learned about peer support like several years ago. I'd have to like think back on when this term came up for me. I think it got brought up in a conversation somehow. Yeah, support system. Yeah. Yeah, I think support systems are very necessary. I've had a discussion about, I think I was talking to Nell about this actually. Was it Nell? Yeah, no, it was Nell. We were talking about like how we do better, like we feel more motivated to do things when we're working together. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And I was telling her that like I was really happy that I was able to host the charity stream with her, because I was able to like get into a rhythm of streaming on YouTube, which was very, very it produced a lot of anxiety for me, but I think streaming together with Nell and Taryn for the charity stream kind of made me step up and get over my anxiety and fear of streaming on YouTube. Yeah. They're more accessible, and there is this unique element of solidarity since peer support workers have gone through trauma and such. Right, whereas like certain doctors don't necessarily have that lived experience. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. And even if they do, they can't provide that peer support because of other guidelines and regulations, right? but they can always point their patients in the right direction. Okay. Committee leaders can greatly benefit from, oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think a lot of leaders would benefit from like trauma-informed care, or like just learning about, and that's another term, trauma-informed care, right? Understanding a person's experience from a perspective of trauma, and not just like, oh, yeah, there's just something wrong with them. No, it's there's something happened to them that caused them to have this break, right? Whether it's an addiction or substance abuse of some kind, right? It's having a little bit more empathy and care and like structure can really be helpful. Yeah. So I'm quite passionate about this topic. There's just so much for me to learn. I'm literally just an infant. I'm just trying to absorb as much as I can and share along the way. So, of course, let me just reiterate, in no way am I a professional. I strive to continue learning. I strive to learn and grow more, and be able to provide these resources for those that need it, right? Because I know how difficult it is to feel alone, to feel stuck, to feel isolated, to feel dejected. I mean, all of these emotions. I also know what it feels like to be hated on for God knows what reason, right? Could be any reason. Like I opened up the stream earlier today, right? Someone could just hate me for breathing. I could just breathe. I'm breathing the wrong way, and I could be hated. I could be hated for, right? So how do we build resilience with that? It could also feel less intimidating and more personal talking to a peer than a professional, which could feel more formal, sure, right? But with the training, the peer support worker does keep a level of professionalism, of course, but there is this sense of like, I can actually talk to this person a little bit more and open up and really process what I need to process, right? Really get to the core of my experience. Sure. Yeah. That makes sense, for sure. While we continue meditating on this topic, I wanted to give a quick announcement that, the Table Talk Food for Thought is coming up. When is that coming up? That is coming up next Friday, February 28th at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so it's an hour later than when I'm usually streaming. But before that, we have this week, and this Friday, the 21st, we have Dr. Gunner and Bike Beast, both at times that are not my usual streaming time, but still a time for us to connect and be able to hear from different perspectives. Girls, I don't know where that's coming from, honestly. I've never had that experience personally. I'm trying to think, have I ever had that situation? That's just bullying, you know? Yeah, I feel like everybody does that regardless of their gender or assigned sex at birth. Like, I feel like that's, I don't think you need to be sexist about that. I don't think it's only that, you know. It's also conditioning. It's also called being a bully, honestly. If we're gonna call it out, it's just called being a bully. And seeking power, domination. So we were watching Criminal Minds in the garden the other day. We watched about 4 episodes of season 1, which is great. And it was really eye-opening to revisit some of the early episodes. VU says peer-to-peer support for VTubers. Since you're a VTuber as well, you can relate to the struggles of being a VTuber and provide mental health to other VTubers. Absolutely. Yeah. That would work, wouldn't it? That would work. I'm a little nervous reaching out to other VTubers, but I think that would be a possibility. Yeah. Yeah. And it's just a matter of character, right, Antley, is what you're getting at? It's just a matter of your character, what you value. So just because you're going through like a bad situation, that doesn't mean you can take it out on other people, right? So just because you're, say for example, the bully is going through a family problem, like their parents are getting divorced. All right, so they're going through something like their parents are getting divorced, but why take it out on somebody else, you know? King says you could ask the others to recommend the videos, like systemic word of mouth to others, perhaps? The videos. What videos, King? Can you clarify which videos? Videos. Am I missing something? There's videos? My YouTube channel? My videos? Or dot 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 dial up music. All right, cool. That was the dial up sound, but by the way. Does anyone remember the dial up sound? It's something like that. Okay. Just an idea. It's an investment, indie or corpro. Invest in your mental health so you don't get burnt out and quit VTubing. Yeah. That was the dial-up sound, for sure, for real. Yeah. Well, I don't know if people quit, if the main reason, well, that's a case-by-case view. Sometimes people quit because they want a different occupation. Sometimes people quit because their life is changing. Maybe they're, I don't know, doing something behind the scenes that we just don't know about. Or there's just differences in creative ideas and planning with the company. That's hard to say. But overall, yeah, investing in mental health is, in this day and age, is probably one of the better things you could be doing, right? It's kind of alarming how so much of the statistics point to a decline in overall health. I don't have any statistics or numbers on me right now, but I'm pretty sure Dr. Gunner would have more statistics and numbers. But like, wasn't it some kind of 1 out of 7 or something like that people are on some kind of medication, right? And by the time they're 70 years old, by the time a person is 70 years old, they're like on 8 different medications for like different ailments and such, right? Yeah. I actually, today, I read an article about a country that, yeah, I read an article about a country that is used stem cell treatment to cure diabetes type 1 in one of their patients. Yeah. BU says, just feels like a lot of VTubers post on Twitter about stress they go through with VTubing. Feel like they could benefit from peer-to-peer support. Absolutely. I think so too, the solidarity. But it's really important to note that peer support isn't just getting together to complain necessarily, but it could also, it's more like getting together for a solution. I see. But then again, if people want to quit, they'll quit regardless of mental well-being. Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking as well, Bayu, because like you could like, if the company provided them mental health resources, that might like retain them a little bit longer. Like if if there was like a counselor on standby, right? If there was like a counselor on standby for these VTubers who are maybe overworked or stressed in some way about life and what they want to do with their content or etc. etc. But in any job situation, there is a form of stress. Yeah. Trying to think. It could be possible. It's not impossible, VU. It's not impossible. I think it's just how you go about it and who you talk to. I'm just thinking to myself, like introspectively, considering how mental health could help VTubers, right? There is something called eustress. Yeah, there's like quote unquote good stress. Stress that's supposed to motivate you. But if the stress is not motivating you and it's like causing you more negative experiences, then probably need to reevaluate. You think that there's other places that would benefit more from mental health than VTubing industry, I guess. Possibly. That's likely. Stress is actually what makes you mature. Oh, okay. Yeah. I think there's gonna be a lot of people who say like, oh, you know, Poette, you're doing the VTubing thing wrong. You're not supposed to be doing this as a VTuber, you know? So nothing ventured, nothing gained. I'm just exploring my options right now. There's a small community of like scholastic VTubers, which I find very interesting, that I follow. I follow them. Their real life professions are either like teachers, researchers, scientists, you name it, and they VTube and share their knowledge and wisdom and information with their community, which I think is really interesting. Antley says those people don't know what they're talking about and there are no rules. King says I try to always stay positive and calm down to avoid too much stress. That's good. If you're not doing whatever the hell you want, then you're doing it wrong. King says, don't panic. Nothing good happens if you panic and stress out. This is supposed to be a creative endeavor. A lot of popular talents tend to overstress themselves. Oh, yeah. Yeah. They seem fine to me. I don't know I don't know which specific talent you're talking about. Like when I look at Iron Mouse, she seems pretty balanced. She's like a veteran. When I look at Ventrea, she seems pretty balanced. But then again, I don't know their mental health. But like from what I can see from their Twitter posts and what they post, these popular veteran streamers seem pretty fine to me. They seem pretty balanced. I don't know, Bao the Whale seems okay. So I'd be surprised. Okay. Ryu says, I wish mental health wasn't overlooked and people think just putting those individuals on pills is going to work for everyone. It doesn't work for everyone. Yeah, Ryu. 1,000%. As a VTuber fan as a whole for over 8 years now, what you're doing is fine. Don't listen to them. Okay, Alvin, thank you. They seem pretty stable too, not gonna lie. Yeah. I think it's about, like, really kind of, like, I hate to say it, but I'm gonna say it, and this is an unpopular opinion. All right, are you guys ready? Are you guys ready? Clutch your pearls, hold your pearls, you know, all that jazz. I don't think VTubing is for everyone. Just like I don't feel like being a civil engineer is for everyone. Just like I don't believe everyone can be a mathematician or a teacher. I know. How dare. I'm just saying. I just clutch your pearls. Ah. All right. Leafy says, I met a lot of people that take reducing stress. I met a lot of people that take reducing stress as never being stressed ever. I don't understand the idiotic double standards that VTubers have to be a specific thing or way, but other content creators can do whatever they want. Sure, right. That's why I think mental health would be better applied in other industries. How dare you say something so true? I thought to myself I'd rather be a fan than a streamer right now. Okay. Yeah, hi panda. Do you see the pandas? Is you. All of them. Is you. 'Tis you. How you like them pandas. We're holding on to panda. Eee. Yeah, boy. Hello. It's so good to see you. Did you get back from dinner? Did you have a good nom nom? A din din? Did you have a good dinner? I'm assuming it's dinner time there. I got some weird advice from like someone I don't even know. No, like literally they're an anonymous person on the internet, and they posted some provocative image of myself that I can't take seriously. And they're like, you know what Poette should do? You know what Poette should do? Poette should do this. And I'm just like, I don't know you, dude. I don't think you have my best interest at heart. So I'm going to kindly decline your I am going to invalidate you. No, I'm going to decline your statements. So it was just like a cutout of my face on this like really provocative, borderline not safe for work body. Yeah. Oh, you're sad. Here's a pill. Putting Band-Aid on gunshot wounds. Yeah, that's not really the way. But that's, this is something Dr. Gunnar talked about in one of his presentations before, and that's why I really resonated with some of the things he has to say, especially since he's in the medical field as a professional. But like, in his book, he talks about exhausting all quote-unquote conservative options, holistic healthcare options before resorting to surgery or medicine or, the pharmaceuticals, the big pharmaceuticals. Yeah, very, very fun to be around. Yeah, I can't take that seriously, so I really don't think those people have my best interest in heart, and it really, if they did, they would be here. They'd be interacting or lurking in the least, but I doubt they are, so it is what it is. I'll never know. Besides, the skin tone was all wrong. Wait, what? Oh, right. Oh, yeah, the image. Oh, you saw it? Oh, my God. That's so embarrassing. Yeah, it's so embarrassing. The more invasive methods should be reserved as a last resort. Yeah, sure. I agree. Yes, absolutely. I don't know why people who don't even give... Yeah, exactly. It's so weird. It looks so bad on them. It makes them look so bad. It's really it like gives them no credibility. Like if you're in my streams and you're like chatting and you're like saying, "Hey, these are some ways you can improve." Okay, I'll be like, "All right, I might actually consider that," but like goodbye. Yeah. Yeah, it's got to be like some kind of like control thing, it's like a power thing. It's this weird power struggle. So it is what it is. Like they probably get off on thinking they can control somebody's like content or like what it's like not even asked for. It's like I didn't even ask for their advice on it, so it's kind of weird. And then the image they posted was so freaking weird. Probably just like them. And you know what? That's okay. That is okay to be weird. Embraces neat mentality in a way. It's a space for mentally ill neats. Yeah. Yeah. It is. It is, isn't it? Well, time to inject the neets with some mental health resources. Here you go. You have some. You have some. Here, you can have some too. I guess the difference here is that VTubing is a job, not just a hobby. Yeah, there's different layers to it. Flame Blade, there's different layers to it. Cough cough, Flame Blade's the one who posted on the anonymous forum board. Cough cough, just kidding. We don't know. We'll never know. We will never know. I don't see how that makes it different. Yeah. So that's another thing. So with what Vayu was saying before, Vayu, do you remember how you were saying there's a lot of VTubers who whose mental health is deteriorating within the VTubing industry? You have to ask yourself, what level are they on? Is VTubing a job for them, or is it just a hobby? Or are they just starting out and the numbers and metrics are not working out for them, and the algorithm is difficult and blah 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 blah? And like, because like I said, I could counter that by saying people like who are veterans who have been streaming for over 4 or 5 years have grasped a rhythm and have grasped, you know, a sense of control over their job/hobby, where it kind of like merges into one. For mentally ill needs to stay and continue embracing being mentally ill needs. Oh. For mentally ill needs to stay and continue embracing being mentally ill needs. Huh. But that's their space, and if that's what they want to do, why should we intervene? Intervene with the needs or intervene with the VTubers? Room rot. Oh dear. Both. Ah. Wait, who's intervening? Is there someone intervening? Do we need to intervene in the intervention? That's the prerogative. Or are we talking about the weird? And then there are content creators, VTubers that just want to profit off of it. Yeah. And they're probably pretty stable. There's always a cost, right? There's always like a, what's it called? What's it called? Not cost exchange, but there's a word for it. Like a give and take. You do too many interventions. We need to have an intervention. Oh dear. An intervention for the intervention for the intervention. Crazy. That's wild. Nah, I won't get involved. I don't think I'll get involved in any way. It's fine. It is fine. So... It's really interesting because then there's like people like Healthy Gamer GG, right? Dr. K. And then there's like Psych to Go and like their audience as well, right? And it makes me wonder kind of like their motive, right? Like Healthy Gamer GG and Psych to Go. Like they're just doing this, right? All right, we're holding up. We're pausing. Everybody freeze for just a moment. Would you be brave enough to do a call-in stream? What does that mean, a call-in stream, Leafy? A call-in stream. What does that look like? What does a call-in stream look like? I think I've had people collaborate. I've had people collaborate with me before. You're talking about a collab? To do a call-in stream. Is that where like viewers come in and chat, or like through voice? Oof, that's also a risk, because I need to know who's coming up so they don't just like shout some profanity and leave, you know what I mean? That could happen. That would happen. Like, that would happen. So you have an open line and anyone can call in and talk to you about their problems. Oh, isn't that what marshmallows are for? I don't know. You're talking about like a hotline? Huh, I don't know. All right, sounds good, Antley. Have a good rest of your night. Oh, like a radio channel. Oh, yeah, maybe. Maybe. That'd be interesting. I wouldn't know how to set that up, though. I'm not sure how I would set that up. Like, would they have to be on Discord? Would it be on Discord? Would it be... how long would it be for? I'd still get random people, right? The Evergreen FM radio. I probably could try that. It just... Yeah, I feel like marshmallows are a better way. I haven't checked my marshmallows in ages. Do people... I think people still use them, but... Cute. Well, I don't even remember my website. Shoot. I'd have to look for that. I don't know what happened to my marshmallow thread. And I think with marshmallows, there's like a word limit, isn't there? Yeah, I'd still get a lot of random people, so I'm not sure how I feel about that. Someone would just like come up and say some profanity and then leave, and I have no way to like censor that, you know what I mean? Oh yeah, that's nice. Marshmallows only during the early months, yeah. Probably not for this community, maybe. There's a guy that dresses like a gecko and does calls and streams on YouTube. That's interesting. I want to. That sounds pretty fun, but I don't think I should. I probably would not do that, but it sounds fun. Not gonna lie, Leafy. That sounds like a really good idea. But I don't think I would be able to regulate the people well enough. And like I wouldn't be able to prevent someone from just coming up, yelling a profanity, leaving, and then just like getting their 15 minutes of fame and weird gratification, you know? So it's more important that I keep people feeling like safe than anything else. I usually, what I do is I hand select, like I select people to come up and talk. And so that's something that I've considered, or have considered, am planning on doing with everything that's going on. So yeah. That is probably the best idea yet, is just, I guess if you want to call it cherry picking contestants for discussions, because then I know I can at least trust them and there's some rapport that I have with that person. Yeah. Anywho. Any other final thoughts, comments, anything of that nature? Do we have any final comments? Anything we just have to get off of our fins, our chest, our mind? Anything? Anything at all? If not, we'll probably wrap up here and call it a good evening. I will be in the garden, so that'll be something that I'll be doing and being around. Yeah. Aw, thanks, Panda. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. That's very kind. I hope you guys enjoyed my presentation and what I had to say, and at least present peer support to everyone. Evergreen peer-to-peer support services, let's go. That would be very nice. Yeah, it would be open for anyone who can afford a cup of coffee and maybe movie tickets, right? So, or a Netflix subscription, which is what, like, depends on which tier you pay, but yeah. You could Netflix and chill, or you can potato pigeon and heal. Either way. But I'm really glad that we got through this presentation, and I hope it was insightful. I hope you guys are interested in kind of what I have to offer people and the community at large. It is kind of an interesting dynamic. We're in an interesting time, but we'll see. We'll see where this takes us, right? We're in it for the long run. So, yeah. Yeah. Please do. Definitely. Yeah. There's I looked into some of the differences in the comparisons, like also counseling and mentoring as well. It's just like sometimes there's like different job titles and slightly different tasks that are involved. I think social worker is more like admin as well, like more administrative stuff like paperwork, whereas peer support is more like really getting into like the feelings and the conversations and like the activities, the occupation. It's almost like there's a little bit of occupational therapy that could happen as a peer supporter, which is like recreational activities like coloring, journaling, meditating, planning out the week, telling stories to each other, talking through things, right? Which you wouldn't do with a social worker, right? You wouldn't tell your social worker like, hey, I'm having a hard time. I'm feeling really anxious. The social worker will look at you, nod, and say, okay, can you please sign this piece of paper saying that you need some additional resources? You know what I mean? Or something like that. Like, I think the social worker just collects the information that they need to move you through the system, which is really important. I'm not saying social workers are bad, but that's just kind of like a very loose generalization of trying to compare the two, just off the top of my head. I could be wrong. Social workers probably do a lot more than that as well. They definitely listen to the stories and listen to the people that they're working with, obviously, to help them determine what's the next step. Whereas with peer support, sometimes there is no next step. Sometimes it's just sitting with your feelings and processing them. So, yeah. But anyways, I digress. It's been real, scholars. I've greatly appreciated our time together. Again, just a shout out to Leafy Soul Green. Thank you so much for your encouragement and for your $5 tip. I greatly appreciate it. Stream Elements is available for donations now. That is something, if you feel that my work and my being resonates with you, you're welcome to support. If not, that's perfectly fine. I'm happy to provide be a free resource as well to those. But if you want to give back and contribute and you're in a place of stability financially, that is always an option, but never mandatory. So with that said, have a wonderful rest of your day. Yeah, I hope it was informative. I hope it brought about curiosity and insight to everyone. I'm really glad that we could hold space for this topic together and have the discussions that we had today and with each other. So with that, I want to wish everyone a wonderful rest of their, again, night or day. And please take care. Take care of yourself and be well. I love you guys very dearly, and you guys mean a lot to me. So always remember that, okay? Thank you, scholars, for always being so supportive and kind to me. It really means a lot to me, and it really motivates me to want to continue doing my best for you. So thank you. Hi, arigatou gozaimasu. Otsupo. Good night.